Peace stars, what's up? It's your boy Eru, host of the Dying podcast. I want to talk about Richie Guerin, man. A lot of new Knicks fans don't really know too much about him. They could look up the all-time scoring Knicks and they'll see his name there, and they kind of just bypass it. Richie Guerin is a Hall of Famer, but there's a question. This guy is still living, 90 years old, 90 something years old. He's still living, one of the Knicks greats, and I want to know why his number's not retired. So I'm gonna break down that. I'm gonna break down Richie Guerin. And I'm going to talk about a couple other names too that are quite deserving of getting the number retired. But this is something that this did to my heart, and it would be nice to bless this old man while he's still alive and have his family, that know how great he was and they'll tell people how great he was. But they never talk about him at the Knicks, and his number is not up there with the rest of them, man. So let's talk about it. There's a lot of things to debate about it. So without further ado, the Next podcast, let's just get busy. Yeah, man. So we got to do this, man. What sparked this conversation? I've always been thinking about it, specifically because Richie Guerin actually wears the same number that RJ Barrett wears, and RJ Barrett just got his money, which is really nice. I'm not going to do any pods about that because I'm waiting for this Donovan Mitchell thing to get through, and then we can talk about money and salary stuff like that. That would be more important to me once the roster and getting ready for training camp. Then we can have talk about salaries and things of that nature and how it pertains to everything else. But everyone else is doing a great job doing that, and I'm not going to talk about it. So I do want to talk about the other person, the original person, one of the original people that wore that number 9, and that's Richie Guerin. But what started that what made me want to do that today is the news that they retired Elvin Hayes' number. Which is a little bit annoying, but there's context to that too. Elvin Hayes played for the Houston Rockets towards the end of his career. You know what I'm saying? So here's a heartfelt video. I'm just gonna play the video just so you can see. I won't play the actual audio, but just they're shaking his hand. Look how old this guy is now, man. Come on, you know, here it is. I'm trying not to play the audio because I don't want any strikes here. But I mean, Elvin Hayes, you can see this is the owner of the Houston Rockets or somebody in the front office. They're just showing him an old things, whatever they're surprising him. He has the old Houston. Look how old he is, man. Look how old he is. They're gonna wait till the guy freaking drops dead in order for him to get this accolade here. It's to me it's amazing. Forever 44. I mean, I want to say this is like 50 years too late. This guy could have passed away just from old age, man. And it would get to the point where he would never get a chance to have this honor bestowed upon him, man. It's just crazy, this internet age and stuff. It's good that some of these young guys here that are executives coming in here and they're making right. They're going through the history. Say, listen, man, we need to do something about this. And they made the right decision to bring Elvin Hayes into that. So let's talk about Elvin Hayes for a second. Elvin Hayes never played for the Knicks, but this is a build up to the whole Richie Guerin situation here. So I mean, he's 76 years old, still pretty young. I got in-laws that are 76 years old. So it's still young. You still get around and stuff. You saw him. He's still handsome. Looks like he's still in shape, really great shape for a 76-year-old. But that's great. But a lot of people pass away, 67, 50-something, and it would have been a shame if it got to the point where he already passed away and then now we're going to retire his number. And you're going to have a family member that pop up, and then meanwhile, they always thought that, this guy's number should have been retired, man. So let's take a look at his accolades. Hall of Fame, 12-time All-Star. You can see his stuff on the screen. You can Google it yourself, So 21 points per game, 12 rebounds per game. When he played for Houston, he only played for Houston for 3 seasons, and they did this for him. 3 seasons, and they decided to retire his number. Look at his numbers at the end of his career. Last 3 seasons, he's talking about 16, 12, and 5. So this was the end of his career. He was not a high-impact player for them. He was decent when he first got there. 16 and 9, 12 and 7 is pretty good. Last year, 5 and 3. But they thought in his heart, because he's a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest players, one of the 50 greatest players to ever play. Look at these numbers: 28 points per game early in his career, 17 rebounds, 16, 18 rebounds. He topped it off. Averaged basically 20 points per game for his first, what is this, 10 seasons? 10 seasons, 20 points per game. Come on, man. Why does it have to get to this point where guys are like knocking on the heaven's door before they even give these guys the accolades? To me, it's not fair. It makes me emotional to think about it, man. So, this is what sparked this conversation. Let's get into some Knicks stuff. I'm going to use Real GM. So this is old school, man. Real GM used to be probably the only site, and then Basketball Reference and various other sites branched off and kind of like, left Real GM in the dust a little bit, man. But I see Real GM is at least trying to fix their bugs in their site finally. So anyway, this is the Knicks retirement numbers. We got Bill Russell. Bill Russell is retired, league wide. So there are players in the league that have number 6. They get to wear number 6 until they retire, and then no one else will wear that number again. So that's something to keep in mind too, because there's certain people like RJ. RJ is wearing number 9. Shout out to number 30, which is Julius Randle. He's wearing Bernard King's number. We'll talk about Bernard King in a second. So I mean, these guys, they can wear the number until they retire. But then that player that needs that recognition should be put in the rafters here. So we got Clyde Frazier, well deserving, man. You could everybody knows about his stats. 10 seasons with the Knicks, 19 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Those numbers don't really seem too crazy to me. The defensive player of the year 7 times, leading all defensive teams. If they didn't actually register steals in the stat box, but if they did, he probably would have led the NBA in steals probably his whole entire career, and he probably would be one of the top steals leaders of all time too if they recorded those back in the days. So anyway, everybody knows those stats here. Here's a name here, Dick Barnett, that that's kind of annoying to me a little bit. 15.6 points per game. He did play 9 seasons with the Knicks. 2-time NBA champion, and he was an all-star, I believe, 1 time as an all-star. Listen, 9 seasons in the NBA, 15 points per game. That doesn't really seem like something that's like worthy to be retired. But I do get the 2-time champion. He was basically one of the scoring leaders for the first championship team. The second championship team, I believe he was coming off the bench. So I get it. They blessed him because he was part of that championship run. But I mean, he's kind of like borderline. Earl Monroe. Listen, Dick Barnett is not dead. He's still alive. He's a lot older than some of these guys. He's older than Walt Frazier and Earl Monroe. So respect to him. He's up there. He deserves to be there for whatever reason. I'm not here to bash on Dick Barnett. He's one of the greats. Fallback baby jumper. Do your research as a Knicks fan. Earl Monroe. He started off his career, everyone knows, with the Bullets. He actually played with Elvin Hayes. He played with Elvin Hayes with the Washington Bullets. I believe Monroe's number is retired for the Bullets also. With Hayes. Hayes' number is retired from the Bullets. Earl Monroe's retired there too. But Earl Monroe actually finished off his career playing 9 seasons with Earl Monroe. With the Knicks. So he was part of he won 1 championship with Washington and 1 championship with the Knicks. So I mean, he does deserve to be there. Like I said, 9 seasons. Look at the points per game, 16 points per game. He didn't really have those big scoring years that he had with the Bullets. But still, he won the championship here. Black Jesus, Earl the Pearl. You know what I'm saying? He deserves to be up there, for those reasons alone. Here goes Dick McGuire. I'll talk about Dick McGuire a little bit more in a second because he was around the time where Richie Guerin was a Knick. They made it to the playoffs a bunch of times. This is during the era when it was George Mikan dominating the league, and the Knicks made it to the finals a couple times. I think the Knicks played against George Mikan those years. They just didn't have anybody to go up against him. Dick McGuire played 8 seasons. He only averaged 8 points, 5 assists, but that's due to the era. So when you see these stats, like I said, like I was kind of like bashing Dick Barnett a little bit, but Dick McGuire, you can see his stats. But this, like I said, this is due to the era. He also was a head coach for 2 seasons under the Knicks, I believe. So it's interesting, but he definitely was like one of the main stars of that era. Talk about college and just being a son of New York, because Dick McGuire is also from New York. I believe Dick McGuire. Let's click Dick here. Pause. Dick McGuire is actually from the Bronx. He did pass away in 2010, so he did get his number retired before he passed away, I believe, right? If I'm not mistaken, 2010. So that's good that they did that for him. So anyway, let's keep it moving. Of course, the captain, Willis Reed, is there. 10 seasons, goes without saying, all the accolades, top 50, top 75 players of all time. So he belongs here. He belongs to get his number retired. Never played for any other team. Of course, finals MVP and this, that, and the other. He's one of the all-time great basketball players of all time, man. Dave the Butcher, He actually had his best years with the team that he was with before, with Detroit, where he averaged like 20 something points and a lot of rebounds and stuff. He gets to the Knicks, and his numbers dropped a lot. Still double machine. Still a big part of the championship runs. So all you can see all his accolades there. Top 10, 50 player of all time, top 75 as well. So he made it to the next level still. So that means how great the guy was. Like I said, most of his accolades was before he got to the Knicks, I want to say. But he also was the one, was the general manager when Patrick Ewing was drafted. So there's a lot of history with him. He was general manager from 82 to 86. So, he was, responsible for the Ewing draft. So, it's interesting, man. He's definitely belongs up there, number 22. Bill Bradley, that's the Rhodes Scholar, and right now he's into politics and all kind of stuff. I'm looking at another screen. That's why if I'm looking off to the side here. Bill Bradley, 10 seasons with the Knicks, 12 points per game. That 12 points per game jumps out at me. Because I mean, for as like popular or as like that name Bill Bradley, just like sticks out there. His numbers with the Knicks weren't all that great, but he was a part of the championship team, two-time champion with the Knicks, and he deserved to be up there. For whatever reason, for what he meant for the city at the time and what he means for basketball and just for politics and everything like that. This guy deserves to be up there for whatever reasons. You can give reasons for guys to be up there. A lot of people debate Bill Bradley whether or not he should be up there, but he's up there. Like I said, Dick Barnett is one of those guys as well. Of course, Patrick Ewing. I'm not even going to talk too much about Patrick Ewing or Red Holzman because Ewing is probably the greatest Knick. 15 seasons, man. That's like the longest tenured Knick of his caliber. 50 greatest, 75 greatest. Rookie of the year, 11-time All-Star. Come on, it's crazy, man. The stats. So he belongs up there. He's Mr. Knick. He's the greatest Knick of all time. He belongs up there. Red Holzman is our winningest coach, 613. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody wants to play that number today, you know what I'm saying? If you win, send me some money. You know what I'm saying? So play 613 today. That's the coach of the Knicks here. So that's really it there with the retired numbers. So let's get into Richie Guerin, man. So what is so crazy about Richie Guerin? This is on Richie Guerin's videos here. I have it here. I don't have anything queued up because I just want you to see how long ago these videos were. 9 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago. So this, 2 years ago, 1 year ago. Okay, this is some recent videos. This is him here in the Basketball Hall of Fame. He got it enshrined according to this 8 years ago. I'm not sure if that's correct, but look how old he is. So a guy like this that was so good in his era, trend center. We'll get into that too when I play one of these videos here. But I mean, 8 years ago he got his number retired. That's embarrassing, man. That's embarrassing. You're gonna wait till these guys got 1 foot in the grave where nobody remembers them, and then we're gonna enshrine this guy to the Hall of Fame, and now you don't know about him until you click these speeches and stuff. So anyway, this is a 3-minute speech. This is by the Hoops Hall official Hoop Hall. So please click that video. Click any of these videos and do some research on some of these names that I'm throwing out there for you guys. I'm gonna click this one because it's the shortest one. This is from NBA from the NBA videos from 9 years ago. Just some highlights from Richie Guerin. Like I said, I'm gonna make sure I don't have no sound. One of the trendsetters of that. So this is Richie Guerin. He did make it to the Hall of Fame. Like I said, as early as 8 years ago. So I mean, 8 years ago, Richie Guerin was like freaking 82, man. He was 82 years old. Right now, he's 90. The man is alive. He is not. He's not. In the other place. He's still here with us, man. He's from New York, born in Manhattan. He went to Mount St. Michael. For those that know where that is in the Bronx, he is a New York fixture. He was drafted by the Knicks in the second round. Because at the time they didn't have as many teams. So second round was basically a first round pick in the 1954 draft. Let's just keep it moving. 6-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA player. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's worthy of being in the Hall of Fame. 17, 5, and 5 are interesting numbers because at the time there wasn't really a lot of big-time scorers out there. But I'll scroll it down so you can see. Richie Guerin is actually one of the highest scoring Knicks. He's definitely on the scoring list. I think he's below Houston and some of those guys. But just look at the scoring here for the era. You're talking about the late 50s. Basically the entire 60s. You can see 29.5 1 year. That's 1961 to 62. So, you can see the stats. You got a couple 21s, you got 18, a lot of 13s and stuff like that. He actually got traded mid-season to the St. Louis Hawks. that also became the Atlanta Hawks. I'll talk about that in a second. But what's interesting is it's just that number 29.9. That's unprecedented for that era and stuff like that. Like I said, he was the master of getting to the basket, slashing, hooking guys and getting guys in. Like I said, the crossover dribble. You can see it was the era of the set shot. There wasn't too many people doing jump shots and stuff like that, but he was good with pump fakes and stuff like that. Stuff that you see now. I think that Richie Guerin, if he was alive, was in this era right now, I think with the game that he had, he would be a functional NBA player. I think that he would actually be really good. First step and stuff like that. He's 6'4". I believe he was like 230 something, if I'm not mistaken. No, he was like 195. Excuse me, 195 at 6'4", still a big dude, man. So it's very interesting. So one thing I just want to show you of how great Richie Guerin was, because let's be fair here with the playoffs. I'll click on playoffs here just so you can see. With the Knicks, he only made the playoffs 1 year. So let me get rid of this. So I mean, he made the playoffs with the Knicks 1 year. Okay, so these are his playoffs things. He had 24 points in one game. 1 year. One game, and then the next game of that series, he had 6 points. So it was like the best of 3 series. So they lost. Lost 2 games there, 24 and then 6 points there. So that was his Knicks career. So I get it. So that's probably the reason why he's not retired. But like I said, there's other guys that are on the retirement list that don't have high like accolades with the Knicks. Is it his fault that during the time that he was with the Knicks that they weren't playing well? Yeah, you can argue that. So these are all the reasons why his number's not up there. But I mean, you're saying 29 points per game, trendsetter, just being a part of that era with the Knicks and just what he meant for the city and stuff like that, and to be with the team so long. So here we go. This is the play. This is towards the end of his career here when he played with this the St. Louis Hawks here. What's crazy to me is his last game that he ever played was against it was St. Louis. It was he was playing with the Atlanta Hawks, excuse me, and he played against the Lakers. They did lose the game, but I want you to see 31 points, for that game there. 31 points in his last NBA game. Why is that so significant? Let me see if I can go back here. I did delete it. Let's go back to Richie Guerin's regular thing there. I did delete it. My bad. So let's get this here. Richie Guerin. So what's crazy about it is that he actually retired. Richie Guerin actually retired, and then he came back with Atlanta, and he made his way from St. Louis to Atlanta. They needed him there, so he ended up coming back to the team. So this is his actual stats here. You can see the last 1967-68, he was 35 years old. He retired. He retired with the St. Louis Hawks, came back when he went to Atlanta, I guess just to help out with star power and things of that nature. He came back for 2 years. Look at the last year that when he's 37 years old, he only played 8 games that year. Look at his stats, trash stats. He only played 8 minutes per game and 8 minutes. That's that. Excuse me, 8 games, eight games, and he played 8 minutes per game. That's why it's so significant. In that last game, they needed him. They needed a spark to try to see if they could win the game, and they put him in the game, and he scored 31 points. So that just showed the greatness of how nice Richie Guerin was. Old guy, 37 years old. They needed him to for a spark, and he was able to give them 31 points with the Atlanta Hawks against the Lakers to try to save their season. They did lose that game. They got eliminated and stuff like that. But the greatness of Richie Guerin is solidified here. So let's keep it moving here. I want to talk about some guys that also should have their number retired. Here goes another Hall of Famer here, Carl Braun. If you look at some of the greats, some of the highest scoring, highest rebounding players, Carl Braun is right there. Carl Braun passed away 2010, which is unfortunate. 82. So he basically is the same around the same group where Richie Guerin played. He also played with Dick McGuire as well. So he was able to transcend 2 eras, one in the 50s and one with in the 60s, with Dick McGuire being in the 50s and Richie Guerin being in the 60s. So he bridged the gap here, whatever. So you can see Hall of Fame, 2-time All-Star, 1962 NBA champ. That's not with the Knicks. It's with a different team. He's a 2-time ABA and NBA All-Star. Excuse me, All NBA player there with the old league and the new NBA league. So look at the stats here. Originally with the Knicks, 14, 14, 14, 15. mediocre scoring numbers there. But when it comes to the era, we're talking about 1948 and stuff like that. This is like trend-setting stuff. Guys weren't really scoring like that in the early league, but 15 points per game was pretty good for the league at that time. Look at the rebounds. They didn't actually get rebounds at that time, but as you can see going down here, 3 rebounds and stuff like that. So I mean, he was a good player. Uh, he was a point guard, shooting guard, Carl Braun. He was one of the good ones, man. So I mean, he did make it to the Hall of Fame for a reason. So how come his number isn't retired with the Knicks? He played most of his career with the Knicks. I want to say he played 12 years. I mean, let me just get this together because I mean, he also did his service for the military. He went to the military for 2 years, so he served this country right in the peak of his career. He was 23, 24, and he went to serve in military service for the U.S. Army. So that's something else that's like noteworthy to give him this accolade, man. It would have been nice to give it to him before he passed away, man. So I mean, look at these numbers, man. Free throw shooting, 82%, whatever. Field goal percentage, like this field goal percentage is low, but for the era, it's pretty decent for the era. Because the way that they played, they just kind of got shots up, and they didn't really care about field goal percentage like that. They just wanted more shots up at the basket. That's why they say rebounding win championships, because if you didn't rebound the ball because there was so many shots going up, then you weren't going to be able to win the game. So that's where these little cliches come from. So this is where, I mean, this is like trend setting. This is the 40s. He played from the age 20 to age 34, from the 40s to the 60s, man. Played his almost entire career with the Knicks. I believe, did he win the championship with Boston in 1962? I'm not sure, but he was definitely on the bench there. Let's check the playoffs stats here. Yeah, in Boston, he did win a ring with Boston in his last year as like one of the bottom bench guys. But you can see some of these scoring things here in the playoffs: 19, 17, 13, 17, 18, 16. So he gave it up for the Knicks, man. He gave it up for the Knicks, one of the greatest guards ever, that played for the Knicks, and his number is not retired. Why? Why isn't his number retired? Carl Braun is number 2 on my list, but Richie Guerin with Carl Braun, Carl Braun, I want to say more than Richie Guerin needs to get his number retired. But both of these guys need to have their number retired. Now, listen, I'm not old enough, and I don't even know anybody this old that can give me some kind of history of why the Knicks weren't able to retire these guys. What was the history? Was there some bad blood and stuff like that? That the reason why the Knicks don't want to grant these guys their number being immortalized at the top of the garden? Let's talk about where he's from. Brooklyn. There's another Brooklyn guy. So we got Dick McGuire was from the Bronx. This guy, Richie Guerin, was from Manhattan. Went to high school in the Bronx. This guy's from Brooklyn. So these are all New York guys, man. These are not guys that are transplants and stuff like that. These are homegrown people that deserve to have their number in the garden, man. So I mean, we're talking about number 4 and number 9. Let's look at another player here. So shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm going crazy here because listen, I'm very passionate about this, man. I'll get into the chat. I see Sherman is going crazy here. Got some good information here, dropping some gems here in the chat. So I mean, I'm very passionate about this. I mean, like with these guys, they let them pass away without giving them their flowers, man. In 2022, we must stop that bullshit. We must stop it. We must stop it. We have to give these guys their flowers while they're alive. These guys deserve it. They're in the NBA Hall of Fame, for Christ's sake. This is not something that I'm just pulling out of a hat. These guys were great players of their time. They deserve to get their thing. Here goes another player that played for the Knicks there. Harry Gallatin. Look at the list of all top scorers, top rebounders, top whatever. You're gonna see Harry Gallatin, man. There's another guy here. He's not from New York. He's from Chicago. So he was a tough guy. Chicago is notorious for that, especially from the era that he played. We're talking about the 40s now. This is the same Dick McGuire and Carl Braun stuff. This is that era. Hall of Fame, 7-time All-Star. Rebounding champ in the 50s, 2-time NBA All-Star. Let's check out his stats. He played with the Knicks for a long time too. I want to talk. What is this? 9 years. He played 9 years in the NBA. Look at the doubles. This guy, 15 rebounds per game 1 year. I mean, it's amazing. What more can I say about this? Look at the field goal percentage for the era. Like I said, it's decent for the era. Minutes per game and things of that nature. He played till he was 30. A lot of guys, they retire early back then, because you could see 14 and 10. He could have still played. But back then, they weren't getting no money, man. So everybody, once again, they keeps making fun of these guys. Oh, they play with plumbers. They play whatever. They had to, or else they wouldn't be able to survive. Like the NBA wasn't making no money back then. And especially we're talking about times of like this the Second World War. This is after the Second World War, so there's a lot of broke people in this country, man, in the world in general. So you have to put some respect on the history and of the time of that was going on with humanity. 2022 people like to sit in their high horse on Twitter and things of that nature and make fun of things, and it's really not funny. It's really not funny. We need to respect our past and give these guys respect. So my man here, Harry Gallatin, he passed away as well. He died in 2015. But thank God he got to the Hall of Fame. His number should be in the rafters with the Knicks. His number should be in the rafters. His number is number 11 and number 10. So I'm assuming, maybe he changed his number for some reason. I believe, I forgot who's number 11, but I know number 10 is Walt Frazier. So number 11 needs to go into the rafters for this guy. It's not even a debate. These guys are Hall of Famers in the NBA Hall of Fame, but they don't have their number retired with the club that they spent their entire careers on. It's amazing. Here goes another player here that a lot of people don't know about. Let's talk about Willie Naulls. Willie Naulls. This is his actual stats here, but let me see if I can go back just so I can give you a picture. Willie Naulls. I don't know if you guys noticed. This is a black man. Does anybody know anything about Willie Naulls, guys? Willie Naulls is not in the Hall of Fame. But just take a look at it, man. He's like one of the stars of New York. Here. This is a familiar jersey. As you can see, this is one of his basketball cards. This is a jersey a lot of people wear, one of the throwback jerseys. So this is the era that throwback jersey comes from, with the Willie Naulls era. Who did he play with on the squad here? Let's take a look. I'm gonna have to go here. So it's Basketball Reference again, just to take a look at it. Like I said, he didn't make it to the Hall of Fame, but he's from Texas. Texas, for some reason, there's a lot of people from Texas that are strong-minded, New York style players. A shout out to Julius Randle's from Texas. I'm saying Larry Johnson's from Texas. A couple other players too that came along the line that are from Texas. Even hip hop wise, you want to talk about Gangstar with DJ Premier and Face Mob, Scarface, this from Houston. A couple other people too, that I can't really get the name right now. The DOCs from Texas, whatever. These guys sound like New Yorkers, so there's something there. So that's why he was so successful here. If you look at his scoring here with the Knicks, he played for a couple years. He played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. 6 years, and he got traded in the next one. So basically 6.5 years with the Knicks. His scoring average when he was with the Knicks was let's get this together here. 12 rebounds per game and 20 points. So he averaged 20 and 12 in the damn near 6-year NBA career with the Knicks. 20 and 12. How come his number isn't retired, bro? He played in the late 50s and also the early 60s. So he played with Richie Guerin. So he was in the backcourt with Richie Guerin, and it was doing their thing, scoring and stuff like that. So amongst the youth of the era, I'm quite sure these guys were freaking superstars, man. These guys were superstars of the era. And I'm quite sure they meant a lot for the city during that time. You know what I'm saying? They played a lot of years there. I think he went on to Boston and won some championships in Boston too, the same way that Carl Braun did. You know what I'm saying? So that's good for him. But he didn't make it to the Hall of Fame. But I mean, he can have a say in that, especially because of he was a star in the NBA as a black man, 6'6", forward, 225. So that, I mean, to me, that's interesting, man. Here's some deep cuts, because I know a lot of people want to talk about Carmelo Anthony and this, that, and the other. But I mean, Carmelo Anthony has a say in it. That's obvious. I'll get into that in a second. But let's get some deep cuts here. This is Bill Cartwright's numbers here. So Bill Cartwright, which is interesting because everybody thinks about Bill Cartwright with the Chicago Bulls. They won 3 championships, back to back, and he was their starting center for the first championship run was with the Chicago Bulls. But he was actually drafted by the Knicks. Look at his stats. A lot of people don't realize this. He averaged 20 points for his first 2 years, 8 and 7. He was actually Patrick Ewing before Patrick Ewing. He had a foot injury, and that's what basically messed up his career going forward. He was never really the greatest rebounder. Decent shot blocker, decent passer. Not so crazy with that. But like I said, he averaged 20 points the first 2 years. He played quite a few years too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years with the Knicks. So I know, obviously, somebody like Bill Cartwright doesn't necessarily deserve to get his numbers retired, but it's just interesting for you to highlight what Bill Cartwright has done in his career. So because a lot of people don't put a lot of disrespect on his name because they really only remember the '90s. That's when he was an old man. The stupid shot that he had. But like I said, when he was with the Knicks, he actually was a part of a when Ewing was drafted in 1985. That year he was hurt. The year after that, they were trying to make them into the Twin Towers. Respect to everyone that died in the towers and stuff like that. But before all of that happened, before the actual first bombing of the towers, they were actually, that was the thing. The Twin Towers in the NBA. They had one in Houston, they had one with the Knicks, and they had a couple of them throughout the league that they were really trying to get, guys that were super tall at the power forward and the center spot. So anyway, during the time with you in the Ewing era, the first 2 years, before Cartwright was traded for Charles Oakley, they were trying to do the Twin Tower thing. It didn't work out, obviously. The Knicks lost those first 2 years for the most part. But the Knicks traded for Oakley, and the rest is history with that. So I'm not going to talk about Oakley, man. So I'm going to go over to Michael Ray Richardson. That's another guy. Everybody knows Michael Ray, for sports and stuff. He's one of the first people to get banned by David Stern for drug use. And there's a lot of crazy urban myths and stuff like that. They found him in drug spots and stuff like that when he was supposed to be at practice, and they had to pull him out of certain spots so he can go to the game. This is urban legend stuff. I don't want to disrespect Michael Ray or anything like that, but this is stuff that I heard from people, whatever. So it was crazy. It might not be to that degree, but during this era, it's pretty crazy for Michael Ray. But what's incredible about Michael Ray is that when people talk about him, they talk about him being the East Coast Magic Johnson, bro. Look at the assists, 10, 7, 7, 6. This is during the time he was with the Knicks. Look at the steals. Damn near 3 steals a game for his entire Knicks career. So we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years with the Knicks. He got traded to Golden State, and like I said, drugs was a big factor in his career. But if he was never so deep in the drug stuff where he had to be banned, this guy would have been one of the greatest basketball players to ever play, man. You talking about East Coast Magic Johnson? He was able to get back to that towards the end of his career, but it was one too many things. One too many times that he got caught out there that David Stern had to draw the line and get him out of here. So I mean, he got banned. He got banned when he was 31. So basically at the end of his career. But if you look at the steals and stuff like that, look at the steals, man. It's crazy. Damn near 3 steals for his career, 2.6. So I mean, does his number need to be retired? Not necessarily. But what he did in the short amount of time, talking about 3 full seasons, because his first season, I think he was he was like the backup, but the next 3 years were pretty spectacular in New York. So it definitely needs to get some respect on his name, and he deserves to be mentioned in this group. So let's talk about the big dog here. This is Carmelo Anthony. Briefly, he's from Brooklyn. We all know that he moved to Baltimore and this, that, and the other. So he's basically Baltimore and New York mixed. He spent his high school years in Baltimore. So his heart, his peoples and stuff like that he grew up with during high school and stuff, it's probably like, his family's from Brooklyn, so it's probably dead even, as far as like his heart. He played for the Knicks for quite a few years. Let's look at the Denver. I mean, right off the bat in Denver, they should retire his number because he made it to the playoffs his first few years in Denver. That's from year 19 to year 25. Melo was a knucklehead earlier on in his career, but that's not what we're here to talk about. But from 26 to to 32, he played with the Knicks. Let's check out his stats during that time period. So that's quite a few years there. He averaged 24 points per game, 3 assists, 7 rebounds. The same way you can argue some of these guys that I mentioned in this pod, Carmelo Anthony definitely deserves to have some consideration about getting his number retired. But the thing is, the reason why I bring up the other guys like Richie Guerin and Carl Braun and some of these guys, and the reason why I bring those guys up because people say automatically Carmelo Anthony, blah blah blah. But those older guys, they should have been they should have been retired 50 years ago. 50 years ago. So before Carmelo Anthony gets his number retired, the Knicks need to at least those top 3 guys that I mentioned, Richie Guerin, we got Hartington, and Braun. Those 3 guys need to get their number retired, man. Especially Richie Guerin before he drops dead, man. He's 90 years old. Before he leaves this earth, they need to drag him out there in a wheelchair with his family, so he can see, his number go up there before he leaves this earth, man. I mean, I cannot tell you how that makes me feel. For you to be so great like that, and you just wondering, do people appreciate me? Do people remember me and stuff like that? They don't even know who I am. They keep talking about this Carmelo Anthony kid. who probably deserves to get his number up there with the rest of them. But you can see other guys get the number retired, and you're just wondering why aren't they? They don't remember what I did. They don't remember what I've been through. So I mean, it kind of makes me sad a little bit, man, to do that. That's why I'm doing this podcast. I think it's very important for somebody to say something about this. Because a couple other guys to let me shout them out. Oakley, Houston, Starks, and Bernard King as well. Bernard King only played 3 seasons. It is what it is. He had a great time period there. His number probably shouldn't be retired. John Starks, people love John Starks, but not for nothing. That bad shooting night in the finals, all the other negative things that he used to do on the court and stuff like that is not something that because I mean he's popular amongst fans. You know what I'm saying, for the era. So I mean, the popularity of John Starks alone, they want to put him in the rafters. So I mean, just for popularity alone, the Richie Guerin, Braun, and these guys, they deserve to be there too. So before John Starks gets any consideration, those pioneers need to be put up there. Okay, Charles Oakley as well. You want to talk about rebounding and stuff like that? That dude, one of the early guys that I mentioned, I can't get his name. It starts with the H. Hardington, whatever his name was. He needs to be there before Charles Oakley. Because you want to talk about double machine, heart and soul of the Knicks during the time period of the '90s. That other guy with the Knicks, like I believe his name is Hardington, whatever. He was the heart and soul of the Knicks during that time period as well, as the big man double machine of his era. So he needs to be retired before Charles Oakley does. You know what I'm saying? No matter what people say about James Dolan, this, that, and the other, let's put some respect on our greats and get these guys up there. Yeah, I don't know anything about their personalities. I don't know anything about their history or stuff like that. I wish that someone would enlighten me on that. But if there was anything negative or anything like that, that should come out as well. That's all of our history. So if anybody from MSG anything watched this podcast, or looked at it, or if anybody looked at it, I'm hoping that the thought process of what I'm trying to get out there, reaches somebody and they can do something and make this happen for their families and for the history of the NBA and for our Knicks fans to know that life did not end the last 20 years when we weren't good. We're one of the founding franchises in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? We need to put some respect on the Knicks name. It's not fair. It's not fair anymore. I'm tired of being the butt of the jokes. We have a lot of history in this NBA, and it's time to stop the bullshit. Put some respect on the name. Highlight some of our greats. Make some content on MSG Network, highlighting these guys, and let's cut the bullshit already. We have the access. We have the podcast. We have like I said, MSG Networks and stuff like that. We need to make it happen. We need to stand up for all of our great players that play for the Knicks, and enough is enough. Because like I mentioned, 3 guys that are in the Hall of Fame and the numbers are not retired with the Knicks. Enough is enough. We got season ticket holders with banners. Shout out to Greg. I can't get my man's name, but shout out to Greg. He got a freaking mural in the garden. But where's Richie Guerin's mural? Where's Carl Braun's mural? You know what I'm saying? Where's Harlington's what's the name mural? You know what I'm saying? We need to highlight our greats with the Knicks and cut the bullshit already. Enough is enough. So shout out to everybody that popped in on the chat. I'm hoping that people actually get a chance to watch this video. I'm gonna fix up the thumbnail when I get a chance. But we really need to celebrate our guys that came through before us and really let everyone know that we remember and we appreciate where we came from, especially with these Knicks. The like I said, one of the starting franchises. We actually played the first game ever in NBA history, in professional basketball history. We played against the Toronto, whatever they were called, Toronto Huskies or whatever. They weren't even in the NBA anymore. They didn't make it. The Knicks made it to now. So that needs to that can't be forgotten. We can't just be the butt of jokes or for just because of the last 20 years. Like I'm trying to say, enough is enough with this, man. So shout out to Canal hanging out here. Definitely one of the moderators. We got Jarrell is here. I'm trying to see what some of you guys are talking about here. Yeah, they waited until he died. That's another thing too. Why you wait till these guys die before you do that? He died, and then it's okay. We're gonna retire the number, league wide. He was alive. You should have did it while he was alive. That way he could see that and see that that people that appreciated him to that degree. That is a travesty, man. That's a travesty. Shout out to Pete Rose. I know Pete Rose betted on baseball, but watch when Pete Rose died. Within the next 2 years, he'll be in the Hall of Fame. That is garbage. Cut the bullshit already, man. Oh man. Okay, yeah, he went to 3 NBA finals. You remember as a kid. Listen, man, we need to have these conversations, man. Dr. J wore that number. You're talking about number 6 or number 9? Yeah, number 9 with Philly, right? And then also with the New Jersey Nets when they were in Long Island. Let's see. I'm looking for Sherwin here. Yeah, man. I appreciate you too, Greenhouse, man. We gotta shed light on this stuff. I get emotional, man. I'm getting emotional about it because it's just not fair. The guys leave the earth and they don't know that how appreciated they were. They just they did something that it was great at the time, and then the people just forget about it. Like you don't even exist. You know what I'm saying? I bet you some punk ass kid is on his way to like CVS or something, cuts him off or bumps him or something like that, and laughed at him or something like that, and don't know how great he is. It's a damn shame, and the guys will pass away, and will never, and people would never know. Oh my God, he was one of the greats. And I just did that to him. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's that hurts me, man. Oh man. And I'm looking at what Sherman's saying here, talking about the 3-point shot. There was no 3-point shot. Yes. Yeah. That's true. A lot of history, a lot of scoring and stuff like that without being able to shoot that 3. Yeah, I'm looking at what you're saying. Yeah, man. Shout out to Andy. Yeah, fans don't realize a lot of this stuff. It's amazing. So shout out to a lot of guys here. My man State always got to big up State. State is always saying something about today. He's mad about Julius Randle and the money, and we need to get rid of Julius. We need to get rid of Fournier. But listen, man, these little things like that, when it comes down to it, and like their careers are over, their careers are not over yet. When their careers get to the end, we're gonna look back at stuff and wonder what the hell was going on. Was there a State in 1940 something that hated Carl Braun so bad, or hated Dick McGuire so bad, or Richie Guerin so bad that's the reason why these guys are not in the Hall of Fame? I just don't get it, man. I really just don't get it. So I'm just scrolling through here. Yeah, Jamal Crawford is number 11. I got you. Yeah, but these greats, they need their number retired, man. Shout out to Harwell. Great podcast yesterday with Harwell. Please check out the Die Hard Has a Friend segment. I'm gonna keep that going. A couple more people are gonna be coming on for that segment too. And if you're interested and you're watching, you would like to get on there, and you're a content creator, you're putting out stuff, it would be good to do that. So anyway, let's what you talking about here, B. Willis? You would get these guys cemented on YouTube, not just the record, but hey, man. Somebody got to do something, and I feel like I'm the only one. Like I said, those videos 9 years, 8 years ago, some recent ones 1 year and 2 years, but there's only 2 videos. I mean, it's a shame that the players from that era, every team, every fan base that gives up podcasts need to go back and look at the greats and stop complaining about the last couple years or whatever. Like that like the NBA hasn't been around since the 40s. We really need to give our veterans and our pioneers some credit, man. Willie Naulls. A lot of people don't even know he was a black man, for Christ's sake. I know that for a fact. It just hurts me a lot, man. So anyway, this has been a diehard Knicks rant. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to call these segments here. But this is a diehard Knicks rant about who should be retired, man. Richie Guerin definitely needs to be retired first before all these guys. But like I said, get through, for those that are popping in, get to the beginning, get through this podcast because it's very important, not only to me, but I'm quite sure to the families of all these players that I mentioned throughout this podcast. So anyway, this is your boy Eru. I'm gonna come on again at 6. For those that want to talk Liberty, I'm gonna be on my Liberty channel. Finally trying to put some content on there. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the Liberty, and then a little bit later today, me and State are supposed to go on at 8. We'll see what happens with that. But anyway, Eru's out. 4 fingers to the forehead, tucking the thumb, salute, and I'll see you guys next time, man. Yo, man, we need to do better. We need to do better overall, not just with sports, man. It's just crazy. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.